Tonight on To The Point, on the heels of the wildfires in Los Angeles.
We're here today to announce new legislation.
A lawmaker proposing a new bill to hold oil companies accountable. Why critics say it's pointing the blame the wrong way. Plus, as Trump's cabinet takes shape, immigration crackdowns are underway.
We helped move forward troops, put in more barriers, and also to ensure mass deportations.
Tonight, how local school districts are helping families learn their rights. And concerns about bird flu on the rise.
Kind of like you disable your smoke alarm or your smoke detector.
Why some health experts are now questioning the federal government's response under the Trump administration. Good evening. Thank you so much for starting your week with us. On To The Point, I'm Alex Bell. It's been nearly 2 weeks since fires destroyed homes and took the lives of 28 people in Los Angeles. Now, a California state senator is introducing legislation with the goal to help those who have lost their homes during a natural disaster. But as ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen found out, some critics say this bill is pointing the blame in the wrong direction.
We're here today to announce new legislation, Senate Bill 222, the Affordable Insurance and Climate Recovery Act.
As Los Angeles begins the process of rebuilding following multiple fires that claimed lives and destroyed property, Democratic Senator Scott Wiener says the fossil fuel industry should be held accountable during natural disaster incidents.
This is an industry that has known that its product was fueling climate change and was going to lead to these disasters for decades, because they had the science.
Senator Wiener says if passed, this bill would allow victims, private home insurance companies, and the California Fair Plan to seek damages from fossil fuel companies who have done business in California. Wiener believes this would help mitigate the rising costs for home insurance premiums.
So we know that California has huge affordability problems, and we know that ever increasing insurance premiums, those costs are going to increasingly cause some people not to be able to own a home.
The Western States Petroleum Association tells ABC 10 it is disappointed in today's announcement here at the state capitol, adding that this is the latest installment in an ongoing effort to scapegoat our industry, all for political gain.
What about forest management, both rural forests as well as those that are proximate to urban areas, like Palisades, which our majority party has consistently underfunded?
Republican Senator Roger Nilo believes this issue is bigger than just climate change and says fire mitigation needs to be a priority. But Republicans have faced challenges with the Democrats when it comes to forest management.
Last week, the Assembly Republicans proposed $1 billion for fire mitigation, and it wasn't even heard by the majority party.
While Senator Wiener understands this bill will be controversial, he believes it will clearly define liability to help all those impacted.
All right, so Jeannie Nguyen has been following this for us. And Jeannie, I want to ask you, I know that you reached out to the Western States Petroleum Association. Have they said anything in terms of a response to the proposed bill at all?
Well, at this point, Alex, a spokesperson tells me it's still a little too early to make any legal decisions right now, but they do say that they hope the legislature will see this bill as a distraction from real solutions. I've posted their full statement on our website at abc10.com, Alex.
All right, Jeannie, thank you so much. Turning now to President Trump's first 100 days in office, Trump's cabinet and administration are taking shape, and the Senate tonight has confirmed Scott Bessent as Trump's Treasury Secretary, and Pete Hegseth, who was narrowly confirmed on Monday, is now on the job as Defense Secretary. He is vowing to help Trump with his policies along the southern border. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth arriving for his first day at the Pentagon.
Protection of the sovereign territory of the United States is the job of the Defense Department.
For the first time in U.S. history, military planes are being used to deport undocumented immigrants.
We helped move forward troops, put in more barriers, and also to ensure mass deportations.
Immigration crackdowns launched from coast to coast, including in Chicago, where officials say Immigration and Customs Enforcement, alongside DEA agents, are conducting enhanced targeted operations. Trump today meeting with Republican Congress members at his Florida resort.
I declared a national emergency to stop the invasion of our southern border. We're going to stop that invasion. We've already done it.
Some state and local governments are vowing not to assist in the raids.
We're here to give guidance. We also want to make it abundantly clear that we're expecting the rule of law to be respected, as well as the constitutional rights of our residents.
In many places, anxiety over the raids growing.
I had a 4-year-old crying, fearing deportation. that is not making America great again.
I'm already heartbroken myself, and I can already imagine little kids whose families are breaking apart because of this.
And I do want to make a correction. Pete Hegseth was confirmed on Friday, not today. Officials for ICE say they made more than 1,200 arrests over the weekend nationwide. Last year, ICE averaged more than 300 a day. And here at home, immigrant parents of students enrolled in the Sacramento City Unified School District are being informed about their rights. The school district held a meeting today giving details on how to protect yourself. And the conversation was led by Mil Mujeres Legal Services, who says their main goal is to inform and to educate the immigration community.
There is a lot of uncertainty on what's going to come, with this administration, but so they're looking for options, they're looking for information, whether that's family-based petitions, potential U visas, and then just those red cards, knowing what their rights are, knowing what to do.
They say everyone should also have an emergency preparedness plan in place. The organization is doing free consultations for those who have any questions or concerns, and we do have more on how to get in contact with them. All you have to do is just go to our website, abc10.com. And White House officials tell ABC News that President Trump is expected to sign 2 executive orders relating to the military this week. The first is expected to reinstate service members removed from the military for refusing COVID-19 vaccines, restore their rank, and provide back pay. The second is expected to direct the Department of Defense to determine a policy regarding transgender service members based on readiness. It's unclear how many military members this will affect. Trump started his second administration with a blitz of policy actions, including more than a dozen executive orders. I spoke to political analyst Steve Swat recently about the impact that some of these changes could have on us here in California, including what could happen if local agencies don't comply with orders. What do you think could be some of the potential impacts if state or local departments, agencies do not comply?
I would imagine that the president would try to halt funding to those states.
If they don't comply with ICE enforcement?
Yes, halt funding. I mean, with federal funds, I mean, look at the California budget. 1/3 of California's $300 billion budget is federal monies. And so, the president controls the purse strings on a lot of that. So does Congress. And so that is an issue that's likely to come up and be a problem going forward.
I also spoke to Steve about the LA wildfires, immigration, tariffs, and also a lot more. So you can find our 30-minute conversation streaming right now on the ABC 10 Plus streaming app. All you have to do is just look for Trump's first week on the home screen of the ABC 10 Plus streaming app, wherever you stream. Next, on to the point, as rain gives fire crews a leg up in the firefight in Los Angeles. Tonight, the new concerns in Southern California.
Near to below freezing lows across our valley spots. How long we could be seeing frost in the forecast.
Plus, why officials are warning bird flu response could be impacted under new orders from the Trump administration. Welcome back. Tonight, there's a new site in Southern California. The same areas that were hit earlier this month by devastating wildfires, now covered in mud. Rain over the weekend pushing mud and rocks over stretches of roads and, of course, triggering mudslides, flooding, and toxic runoff. Many roads along the Palisades fire burn scar are now impassable and shut down, creating a new challenge for many wildfire survivors. I want to get to meteorologist Carly Gomez, who you're tracking some of the precipitation down in Southern California. How are things looking?
Things are finally starting to ease up and starting to shift out of the area. It's just one of those messy situations where people were ready and needing and wanting to go back home if their home was still standing. And now this is creating other issues. What we're looking at is that low pressure system from Southern California starting to churn its way toward the east. And we're just seeing some very light, maybe a sprinkle for some higher elevation spots. Otherwise, just a few clouds still overhead as we're starting to see that system leaving. Closer to home, though, we saw some warm temperatures today in the mid-60s from areas of Sacramento north toward Fairfield, a little cooler just south from Stockton and Modesto in the upper 50s to low 60s. And, the temperatures this time of year right around the mid-50s, about 56 degrees or so. So we're definitely well above the average for this time of year. We're going to continue the cold morning starts with some frost in the forecast, at least for a couple more days. Showers are returning as well as we start moving into the weekend. And now a weather pattern change. Could we see some relief in sight from all these dry conditions? Well, we may actually do just that. As that low leaves the area, the high is in place. That's allowing for very cold Arctic air to seep in. That's why we've been seeing a lot of the temperatures overhead here into the valley, starting to drop in our overnight lows. But we're also looking here at conditions with the freeze watch, I should say, in effect until 9 a.m. on Thursday for our friends near Vacaville and Fairfield towards Santa Rosa and the East Bay as well. Even though we don't have a freeze watch in effect for the valley, we're still going to be feeling those very cold temperatures. Now, here's where the rain starts to get involved. By Friday night, 7 p.m., we could see our first chance at some sprinkles around the Sacramento area, but mostly you see most of that further north. Then as we move into our Saturday morning, some of the showers pushing into our foothill spots here and the high Sierra. This isn't going to be super impactful, but it looks like we could get something. From Sacramento south, though, we probably will miss out on a majority of that rain. Sunday is actually looking really nice, mostly cloudy to partly sunny skies, and then we move on toward Tuesday and Wednesday. That is where we could expect to see some more of the heavier rain headed our way. And of course, that is still a week away, so things could change. Temperatures into the foothill spots, mid to low 50s out there. But look at the overnight lows at 27 degrees. Arnold, Twain Harte, very cold overnight, and Sonora as well at 29. Over the next few days, the upper 50s, mostly sunny skies. And then we move toward the weekend. That's where we see some shower chances and even better shower chances possible Monday into Tuesday.
Next on To The Point, thousands of Palestinians returning to Gaza. Tonight, the latest on the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. Plus, a new directive by the Trump administration could hurt efforts in battling bird flu. Why one expert says this raises the risk to the public. Turning now to the ceasefire in the Middle East, hundreds of thousands of Palestinians have streamed into Gaza's most heavily destroyed area on Monday after Israel opened the north for the first time since the early weeks of the war with Hamas. And it comes after there were some major concerns this week that the ceasefire deal could fall apart, and remarks by President Trump suggesting that residents of Gaza should leave to other countries. Here's foreign correspondent Brent Clements with the latest.
Israeli forces initially blocking Gazans from heading north after accusing Hamas of breaking the terms of the truce, saying they did not release a female Israeli hostage. Israel now says the woman, 29-year-old Abel Yahud, will be released on Thursday along with 2 other hostages, resolving the dispute and prompting Israel to reopen that corridor to North Gaza. The disagreement coming after the second round of Israeli hostages were released on Saturday. 200 Palestinian prisoners freed in return. And as the ceasefire in Gaza holds, President Trump is resuming shipments of 2,000-pound bombs to Israel. Deliveries that former President Biden partially withheld due to concerns they would be used on densely populated areas. Aboard Air Force One, President Trump saying Palestinians should leave Gaza for other countries.
I'd like Egypt to take people, and I'd like Jordan to take people. You're talking about probably 1.5 million people, and we just clean out that whole thing.
Both countries and Hamas rejecting the president's proposal, with critics pointing to his words as support for ethnic cleansing.
Tonight, there's new concerns about bird flu after a different subtype of the virus was found at a poultry farm here in California. The World Health Organization for Animal Health says this subtype is different than what has already infected livestock across the country. At least 36 million egg-laying chickens have been killed in recent months to prevent the spread of the virus. The federal government says they are watching the situation very carefully and when it comes to the bird flu, but there are questions surrounding the CDC's response. The Trump administration has put a freeze on many federal health agency communications with the public through at least the end of the month. Tonight, ABC 10's Luke Cleary explains how infectious disease experts are raising the alarm, saying that this could impact California's ability to respond.
As health officials work to contain the avian influenza outbreak, the Trump administration has ordered the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to pause all external communications.
It's kind of like you disable your smoke alarm or your smoke detector.
Dr. Peter Chin Hong is an infectious disease expert at UC San Francisco. He says the CDC plays a vital role tracking data across the country.
Federal data is critical because first, it's a fast-moving outbreak. Second, the outbreak involves multiple states. So knowing what's happening in one state can only give you part of the picture.
But under this order, agencies such as the CDC, FDA, the National Institutes of Health, and the Department of Health and Human Services will not be allowed to publish scientific reports, issue health advisories, or update their websites, at least through the end of the month. This leaves California to face the crisis independently, Dr. Chin Hong says.
But California can only do so much because, again, it involves multiple states, there are multiple agencies. We don't have the resources to handle something this big, and you need federal help for resources, for coordination, and to prevent misinformation.
Luke Clary, ABC 10.
And the CDC stresses that the risk to the public is low and there is no evidence of human-to-human transmission. And you can continue to expect high prices for eggs this year because of this outbreak. The U.S. Department of Agriculture's price outlook shows egg prices are estimated to increase about 20% this year compared to about 2.2% for food prices in general. A new Chinese AI app is causing turmoil in the stock market, causing some stocks to plummet this morning. The app DeepSeek took the #1 spot on the App Store for free apps in the United States, beating out ChatGPT. The startup is seeing a rise in popularity since its release earlier this month, especially after launching a free assistant just last week. The market is taking a hit because of it, particularly tech-heavy NASDAQ, which is slumping today.
Essentially, those who thought that spending would be much more robust in this space at higher prices for companies like NVIDIA or Broadcom are now concerned that, well, maybe some of those profits and some of that spending is put at risk.
Tech stocks had been seeing an AI-related boom since the release of ChatGPT back in 2022. DeepSeek says it uses less expensive chips for its model compared to other companies, leading AI companies. However, questions surrounding privacy and Chinese government involvement that have surrounded TikTok could also be at play here, potentially on an even bigger scale. And while artificial intelligence can help you do tasks or analyze information more easily, questions are rising about just how much power it takes. Brandon Lewis from our National Verify team looks into it.
A viral post shared across social media claims a single interaction with an AI chatbot like ChatGPT uses 10 times more energy than a simple Google search. Several viewers asked us to verify what impact AI has on energy usage. So let's verify. Our sources are the International Energy Agency, Google's 2024 Environmental Report, and the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign's Center for Secure Water. Doing anything on the internet, like streaming your favorite TV series, working remotely, or even a simple Google search, requires computing power from data centers. The more computer processing that's required, the more energy those data centers need to operate. And AI-based tasks require more computing power than tasks that don't. The International Energy Agency estimates an AI query using ChatGPT uses about 9 times more energy than a traditional non-AI search. AI doesn't only demand more power, it also needs more water. Data centers use water to keep computers cool. The more they're used, the hotter they get, which means more water is needed. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
All right, another thing to remember on this Monday, it's officially tax time again. The IRS opened up today, starting to accept 2024 federal tax returns. And while the deadline is still months away, we know tax experts say that tax fraud and identity theft become more problematic the longer you wait to file your taxes. So it is recommended that you file before the April 15th deadline to not only get your best refund, but also to be less likely to be the target of a scam. And if you have a simple tax return, meaning you're not itemizing your taxes, there's a new way to file this year. The IRS has expanded its direct file program to 25 states, including California. The program lets eligible tax files file their taxes directly with the IRS for free. Good information there. All right, still head on to the point where a new community space just opened up in Davis. Today, the city of Davis unveiled a new public space along G Street in the downtown area. The block first closed to traffic during the pandemic, and now the city is using $1 million in American Rescue Plan dollars to make it permanent with outdoor seating for the public and businesses. And business owners are excited about the idea of more foot traffic, but they are concerned that seating will attract more unhoused individuals. Davis's new mayor addressed these concerns.
We have a new economic development director that's thinking about a cohesive strategy, a brand for Davis to attract businesses, but also to think about how we can improve the appearance and cleanliness of downtown, a regular power washing schedule. We have a new ramped up cleaning team that were formerly unhoused folks called the Downtown Streets team. We've increased city staff presence downtown, dedicated staff specifically to the urban forest and the landscaping here.
The next steps are to paint a mural on the ground next week, and there will also be a phase 2 of this project to bring in some family-friendly activities, art, and more seating. As always, thank you so much for spending part of your day with us and for inviting us into your home. If you have something we should be looking into, reach out to me and the team, and you can always stream our shows for free on the ABC 10 Plus app. I'll see you tomorrow. Hey, it's Alex. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. The To The Point team and I love hearing from you, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. And don't forget, you can always email me and the team at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send us a text message at 916-321-3310.